Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Lighthouse Sessions. I'm really excited that my new friend Ido Kalev took time out of his day to hang out with me. So, Ido, why don't you just introduce yourself a little bit and then we'll get into, I think today we're going to be talking about leadership, chaos, and clarity. But first, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and what you do today?
Okay, Jeff. First of all, thank you for having me. It's important for me. Just a little bit of background. For 3 decades, I was leading operations, uh, actually covered operations, sometimes not covered operations, uh, protecting lives, protecting my team. I was in the Navy for 7 years. Uh, the unit, it's just like the SEALs, but in Israel. And then, I moved forward to the agencies that we have. So I've been to 6 countries. I served in 6 countries, from East to West Europe. I mean, I started in Ukraine. I married there, by the way. I met my wife. No, so we're still together, which is a bit strange nowadays because most
It's
of it
unusual,
it,
sadly.
it is unusual. That's why I'm mentioning this because we're still together. We have 2 daughters. Uh, one is in the army; she's 19 tomorrow, and the second one, Lior, she's 16. Uh, I've been in Ukraine, as I told, right, and then we came to Israel. But Lena, she didn't manage. It was too harsh for her living here. The mentality, the stress.
Yeah.
And then I said, okay, we will go to serve. But to serve, she didn't know what does it mean for me to serve in my job because she didn't know anything. I think until today she doesn't know a lot of what's going on with me. I mean, in these aspects. So we went to Poland first, after Ukraine, and I've been there for 2 years. And I led operations over there, but also out of Poland in other East countries that we will not talk about because it's. But in Poland, I was leading this, the March of Living operation every year for 3 years. I was there 2 years, but I led it for 3 years because it was so complicated. It is complicated operation because people are coming all from all over the world. Presidents, prime ministers, students. It's 15,000 people, and you need to lead this operation with many kinds of law enforcement coming from abroad as well, with all those people, presidents, and prime ministers. So, and then I moved to, I thought that maybe Poland is harsh, so they gave me Russia. And they just asked me, go to Russia, please, because we have some issues. So I went to Russia, and my wife, she was 9 months pregnant. But I said, listen, I have to go to Russia. So I left her. I mean, I didn't leave her, but I had to. So 2 months I was there running from Russia to Poland, you know, and I was lucky to be when she was giving birth to my second daughter. Lucky because she said, listen, I think that, okay, I took an airplane, just went and it was on time. I said, wait, don't do it. Wait. Uh, but Russia, 2 years. Uh, I'm not, harsh time,
Yeah.
complicated. I remember only one thing that of course, I had this big terror attack over there at the airport during the time of our operation, and I'm not going to talk about this. Only one thing that I was really lucky there because I was supposed to go at the minute that it was, the terrorist was exploded. So I was supposed to be there, but My colleague asked me to stay with him for a coffee. I stayed, and then the boom started. But the story is that the committee from the U.S. came, a subcommittee from the Homeland Security, from the Congress. They asked to meet me. I didn't know why. Why do you want? I mean, why do you want me to? I didn't get it, but the security officer of the embassy, he asked me. I said we were in a very good relationship. I mean, all the time in any country. By the way, it goes like this, and this is, by the way, the friendship that we have. We share. We work together, and I said, okay. I said, why not kidding? I'll do it. And 30 people, and we found a place. I told them, let's find a place that it's not predictable because it's going to be hard to talk freely if you want to talk about what's going on in Russia. And I don't care people listening about this. It's okay. Uh, we had this meeting, and they asked me, so how do you feel in Russia? Do you have problems with the authorities? Do you feel okay? You have a free? I said, Jeff, I said, yes, of course. And I did like this with my hand. Sure, sure. I love them. They're so nice. But they were really nice. They were
Yeah.
laughing. They understood. It was a nice talk. Then I moved to the Netherlands for 3 years, and it was like paradise comparing to all those years back,
Yeah.
including like the Navy. Navy, all the operations, Netherlands, like paradise.
Yeah.
And over there, I worked 3 years, and also the Scandinavian countries were under my responsibility. And over there, I understood many things about Europe, West Europe, what is going on and what will happen in the future. And what? I'm listening.
Now,
Uh,
let's talk about the transition because I think my audience is the entrepreneurs. And here's the fascinating thing, and I want your opinion on this first. This will be the first question. I believe that people who serve in the military and come through and fight their own demons, they come out significantly stronger. And I recognize, yes, PTSD happens a lot. But I think somebody who's gone through military service, you become a better entrepreneur and a better leader because, and I'm going to give you a quote from a friend of mine. He said, Jeff, I came out and I teach sales now because on my worst day in sales, I'm performing without somebody shooting at me. And I was like, that was an amazing perspective because, it is fascinating watching a lot of people in business. They let their fear stop them. But the reality is, what's worse than being shot at while you're doing your job? And, if you're in sales, a little rejection, it sucks, but let's move on. So how did you find the transition from a military life to leadership in general?
uh, okay, this is a good one. This is a good question. Really.
Straight to the heart, right?
Yeah, yeah, sure. No, okay. I've been listening to a lot of talks about leadership, and for 32 years, I couldn't respond to anything. I couldn't say anything, but I saw my colleagues. I saw a lot of people which are managing, you know, departments, CEOs of organizations or companies. And now, after 32 years, I can say what actually I believe in and what worked for me as a commander, as a manager, and as a human being. And it's all together, it's a leadership, and it's a leadership that comes from inside. That's why I'm calling it the mission within, because it's coming within me. It's not something that you are thinking about your title or your being a manager or commander. It's just you as a human being thinking on the other side of the table, the person that sits next to you and talk. And when he's talking, I was listening. It started from the Navy. It went on until today. And I always say that when I'm talking to, I told, before that, we are talking then, pre-military schools and talks I gave in the Interpol, Europol. And I was talking also about this, that generations, today generation, or even before 2 or 3 generations before, they don't, you know, they don't care about the flag much. They care about the leader, who's the one that they will follow. What can he bring to them? And not necessarily money. It's not about the money. It's about listening. It's about the understanding. It's about helping if it's a possibility. And most of the time, let's say 98% of the time, it was possible to help because you use all the power within you and all the energy that you have to help this person. It doesn't matter who is he or because I didn't see the when someone is next to me, I don't ask what are you doing. I mean, who are you? I just talk to the person. So I do it every time, and also when I was managing, and they they follow because until today, 20, 30 years ago, people that I was commanding, managing, they are following me until today. They just appears sometimes that I don't even expect. It's amazing, and they always call me even
Well,
after.
and if I may say so, you have this quiet confidence that is calm and reassuring. And what I like, and I am a deeply curious person, and I love talking to the people across the internet from me. What I like about you is you've seen the worst of humanity, and yet I can still look you in the eye and I see your love for humanity through that. And I think that's part of I love seeing humans doing brilliant things. I don't know if and I want your opinion on this. I don't know if you fully recognize how much of your heart goes into your leadership. And what I'm fascinated by is whether you did it on purpose or by accident, you've cracked the thing that it took me 50 some years to figure out, that until we work on ourselves, we can't lead others.
Absolutely. You you know you ask if it's something within that you burn with, that you've been born. I don't think so. It's not necessarily like this. I was raised in it's the stories that everybody tells. I don't know if all of them are true or not, but it's my case. It's just I was born in the one of the worst places in Israel. And all most of the people there, I don't have contacts, but I know that a lot of them are not or not with us because of any kind of problem that can think of,
Yeah.
or in jail, and I was uh, seeing things in a different way. I didn't have a father figure, but I didn't have someone to lead me. Um, my brother, I told, he's in another country, so you don't have a lot of talking until today, and I just had to survive, survive. So I started this when I was really young, just the surviving, being in chaos, not in your comfort zone, which is very, nowadays I see people are talking, even the motivation speaks that I see sometimes, they say you need to be good in your not comfort zone. Your comfort zone is not good. You have to go. But I live that. I know. This is the way. Of course, this is the way. Being in chaos, being not in a place that you can feel good, not at home, because I was there all my life. Since I was a child, and it went on forward to any place I've been. Yes, when you are starting to understand that surviving, it's being comfortable in the place that you are not. This is not your zone, but you still feel it, that you can feel comfortable and you can adapt yourself and be in this place with no problem. Helped me a lot in terrible or crisis, or when there was a chaos, really. A chaos that I took decisions that I don't know if you want me to describe, I will, but 2 second decisions that of life or death
Yeah.
to my team, or to any kind of people that I was protecting, or even when you're in offense, you're protecting. So I took decisions that not all the time my commanders or my managers liked, but I saw priorities in a different way until today. By the way, I don't, and I'm not going to change it. I'm going to, I'm not going to change my personality, because I think it helped me and
It
it
got
is
you.
within me. So I'm not going to change it. It's good because
Well,
it helps.
for what it's worth, Ido, I am fascinated by the work of that Dr. Doug Brockman is doing, and if you haven't read Driven yet, I'll make sure you get a copy, because it will explain a lot. And for what it's worth, you couldn't change if you tried, because you're literally wired. People like you and I, people who are driven, we are wired to thrive in chaos. And I love your profile, because a lot of the words Dr. Doug uses to describe driven, you use to describe yourself. We're very resilient. We can multitask, in the loosest sense of the word. We see more, we process more. We actually literally use a different part of our brain to process visual input. So we couldn't change if we tried.
No, and we don't need to. By the way.
Yeah.
We don't need to. I always say to my friends and anyone that wants to listen, not hear, listen.
Yeah.
And I always say that the way I see it, just a vision, right? And I have this vision with me for a long, long time. That clarity it's my compass, really.
Yeah.
And chaos was my classroom. I think in Hebrew it sounds maybe it sounds the same, really.
Yeah.
And the creativity, it's the way I survived, from creativity. I
I
didn't have
love
a
it. Now, if I may, how do you define, like, I think that's one of the two phrases, the two words that connected you and I from the get-go was clarity and chaos. And I think that's you know, people like us, we're literally magnets for chaos. They seem to follow us. And I have some theories that, we chose these lessons. I feel like life happens for us, not to us. But we're uniquely capable. And I relate really to the movie The Matrix, where things kind of slow down and we see things in slow motion, and then with that we can come back with the clarity. And I'm going to ask, because it's a suspicion I have, and I want you to either affirm or deny it, but I believe as a leader, your inner chaos or inner clarity, whichever you have, is going to reflect into your team. So as a leader, we need to find that clarity. Otherwise, in the military, people die. In the business world, businesses die. Is that a fair?
Absolutely. The leadership, the real leadership that I see it actually, it doesn't come from control. It comes from connection with people. And to if we to eliminate this, uh, you know you can see that the post-trauma growth, the self-awareness, and even fear, all of them together can, can become just kind of a foundation of resilience. And this is actually, if you I combine all those things together, it's a leadership, a real one,
Yeah.
because you have to go through those things to teach or to say or to talk even about this. Because if you are not, it's just, if you're talking from books, and this is not that's it's not clarity. This is not, it's not a vision. It's not a true vision, let's say. But if you pass all of this, and if you have this clarity, if you've been through chaos, and you know what does it mean chaos, and if you've been through trauma, PTSD, and I've been this, I had this, I don't know how to call it, session of PTSD. I was 1 month I didn't sleep. Oh, it sounds okay. 1 month. Yeah, I just sometimes I ask when I'm talking that, okay, what does it mean?
Yeah.
And it means a lot. It means a lot. During this month, I learned a lot about myself, about my resilience, about my willing, about the way I want to be, about how will I overcome this 1 month. When it's going to be over, okay, I don't want to. And again, I learned, don't pay attention when, just leave the moment and find the way to overcome this, because you can, because you've been. So if I wasn't in those chaos situations, when I took decisions that not all, I thought not everybody liked, but I brought my friends and my brothers home, so I couldn't live this month without being dropped, uh, with no Ido. I mean, the character Ido, because I could live here, but in a different way. And it's make the resilience stronger, and your character much stronger. You get up a different person.
Now, you've recently started coaching and speaking. What triggered that pivot? How did you? And this is what I love about entrepreneurs. I'm looking at your LinkedIn profile, and you've got a theme. I can see the theme, but it's also, we tend to change directions. We course correct a lot better than most people. What led you to coaching? Because first of all, I feel like you were born to coach. You've just got that coach's vibe. But how did you wake up to that and go, I'm a coach now?
Uh, when I retired, you see, I paid attention that I have this shirt when I was talking to you, and I said, "Oh, this is retired." I just allow those T-shirts and I picked them because I picked them through my feelings. I just,
Yeah.
and then what does it? It's coming, and I love this because this is the way I dress. I don't care. It depends on the day. I have a sentence to each day, by the way. The way I feel, so my family know that if I wear this, it's, I'm happy or not happy, retired. So when I retired, I started to get invitations to talk it, in variety of, not only one. So I started to get invitations for pre-military academies, which was very important for me. I mean, voluntarily. By the way, I also today managing this treatment center voluntarily, CEO, but people think CEO, oh, he makes like 1,000, I don't know what, but no, I don't. No, actually, I don't. I don't earn $1 or shekel, whatever it is. But no, I do it with love. I don't take money. I even insist not taking money for it. But when I go to talk, I'm talking to the generation that will lead us in the future,
Yeah.
lead Israel. But I would love to do it all over, and because I've seen also my colleagues in the US, for example, and we were talking about this, and we share a lot of things together. Also this, by the way. So
Yeah.
we were talking about the next generation that will lead us, and we were afraid. Really, we were just concerned that they will not be able to be resilient in chaos,
Yeah.
which is very important in life. So I started going there, and I'm going all over. It's not a big country. I don't need to. So it's traveling 1 hour and here, even if it's the farthest place that I get. But it's not difficult. But I go, and when I started, I thought that they will ask me a lot of questions about my military time. Because that's what, it's a pre-military. So they
Yeah.
will ask me about operations and who did you kill, but that's what I thought. And I knew that I was not going to talk about this because I could, but it's not my thing really. I mean, even if I could, which I couldn't, but so anyway, but even if I could, I wouldn't tell. I can say about operations. I can talk. I wouldn't say, of course, what was and where was it and which kind. It doesn't matter. But no, no, Jeff, I was really surprised in a good way. They, of course, at the beginning, they knew who I am. I mean, they didn't invite me for being, just but so that's why I thought that they will ask, what did you do and how would you, all those selections days, how did you pass it, So I planned already what will be the answers if they will ask me.
Yeah.
And they did at the beginning. As the selections day, those days that and it's a good point to start talking about leadership within because it's really there. It's the character issues.
Yeah.
It's really the character. So that's the good point. And when I started to talk about this, I always show it's not negative, it's the struggling points. That it's not beautiful. It's not like being a Superman. No, I love Superman in the movies, but really I love him. It's a good movie. But
Yeah.
again, it's not a Superman. You're not a Superman, even if you feel like it, but it's not the real case. And I told them that with all those things comes also challenges. And the challenges are personal. I mean, it's a personal challenge. And this is the time that you need to be strong and not only to you, to your, at the beginning, to your friends, brothers, team, and then you have a family. So you need to be strong to your family. And I give them all I am very clear and honest. I tell them all the story, which is not easy. I mean, the story, for
Yeah.
me, it's easy to say, but for listeners also, it's not easy to hear. But I do say it because it's important. I had this session of PTSD, as I told my daughter, the young one. She tried to commit suicide 3 times when she was 12. Now she's 16, so she's with us. Yeah, but it wasn't easy. Let's say.
If I may, that was the post where I said, I love this man because I'm a father first. And when you were talking about how your pain impacted your daughter, I was seriously a little bit teary-eyed. I'm going to be honest. But knowing the love a father has for his daughter, that love got you through. And I didn't know you at the time, but I was like, whatever this man needs, he's got it. So, and I do want to be mindful of the time, and thank you for being vulnerable about your daughter, because I think too many people, and especially warrior types, we think we're alone. We try to solve problems ourselves, and the reality is we're stronger together. And I firmly believe the devil wants
Oh,
us to think we're alone.
yes, they are.
Now,
But
I hate to turn on this point because I think you and I are going to have sequel. Don't worry. If somebody's watched this and they want to get to know you and they want to work with you, how can they connect with you and how can they find out what your coaching or your program looks like?
first, they can connect with an email, telephone, WhatsApp, a signal, any kind of form that I wasn't used to.
Yeah.
I
And
told
you're
you
active on LinkedIn. I know that.
I'm active. Yes, yes. LinkedIn is the most. I mean, I spend a lot of time in LinkedIn because it's interesting. Interesting to meet people. I meet every day. I meet many people and very diversities and all kinds of continents, and it's very, very nice and important. And also, when they started reading my articles or posts, they communicate with me through messages, private ones, and I told you about other things, but also operators, which in LinkedIn you have profiles that not resonates exactly with the person. And I knew. So when they approached and they asked me some questions, I gave answers, and I still do. By the way, I have a few. I say a few, but bunch, let's say, right? A bunch of people that they will see this and they will say, uh, they ask me questions. How to do this and how, and I'm up to, you are a different time zone, all those people also. So I stay up to 4 a.m., getting up 9, in the 5 hours, 4 hours later, and continue the day because it's important. I find myself sometimes losing time, because of it, but it's important for me. It's
Well, I can tell your soul and your heart is on your sleeve. And I hate to wrap up because we're just getting into the interesting, deep stuff. But you will be back, I promise. Thank you so much for being a guest on the show and for
Thank
sharing.
you. I appreciate it so much, really. And I got to know you much more. This is the best thing, that I got to know you as a friend, and we have so many things in common, and I really like it, and I appreciate you, and I think that we will be very, very communicative with each other. I mean, friends. So yeah,
I agree 100%. Thank you.
thank you, Jeff.